Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel again. So here we are with an editorial and newspaper analysis dated 23rd of August. So the major economical breakthrough we are seeing is that RBI forex swap window attracts as big as $72.85 billion till 21st August. The FNCRB swap that we have recently covered in our previous video facility will close on August 31, and that is why it attracts as great as these boosting deposits, foreign currency and major banks. And here it's a concerning news about the Indian youth. As per the Niti Aayog and the 78th round of National Sample Survey conducted in 2021 under the mission, the Aayog says in the report titled Reimagining Skilling for Viksit Bharat at 2047. We have seen that around 8.7 crore youth aged 21 to 29 are not studying, working, or nor undergoing any sort of training. Like they are still remaining unemployed just for the purpose of studying, preparation, and due to the financial constraint also they fear that having a paid taking up a paid skill projects or something internship like that would have no major results in return. Rather it would make a financial burden on them with the existing very expensive degrees that they are undergoing, or they are not. It depends on the scenario, right? So 78th round we could see sample surveys conducted in 2021, and here we could see that it's majorly it is revolves around the NEET and the competitive exam aspirants who are only even after graduating who are present in a loophole that they are neither studying and they are just doing preparation. No financial income is there, like no financial stability is there, which they could rely on. They could take care of their own expenses. That is why we have come a major concern is there. We should now focus on creating jobs, creating sectors which are self-employed, mid-career reskilling, self-employment pathways, and learning options aligned with the local demand and emerging sectors, right? And the major chunk and the major emphasis was given on the self-employment and reskilling during your preparation phase. You may take up a job which is do not go for things, do not go for a great amount to be paid to you, because that is not, you would be able to grab it at the moment unless you have done something great, really great. So do not hesitate to take up the things even like minimal amount is being paid to you as a service, right? Take up that, take up your own expenses, and that would array a sort of mental strain that comes you while you are preparing, and also the financial burden sticks over your head and your family as well. So as a result, it is making additional investment in paid skilling alongside traditional degrees is often financially unviable. That is why major students we are seeing are not employed just because they find it unviable to pick up such thing. A beautiful article we could see here, a teacher who recently is being felicitated by a National Teachers Award 2026. Her name is Suman Goyal. She started with her income like teaching as small as 1200 a month. See, this kind of become an inspiration for us, right? She started with this and now she is reaching heights. 2 decades later, a national honor she received. And also she took back herself to a school where she studied. She also started earning like teaching by teaching only due to financial difficulties right in the college. So for Goel, she returned to her old school was more than a career choice for her. It was a return to an institution she credits with shaping her own life. She says that I was a student here myself, so I always used to think that my students should not have to witness the problems that I have faced. That was she felt a sense of connectivity with those children of her own school where she studied years back. So she did not want them to face any sort of problem that she might have come her way when she was studying. And so that was the sole reason, and is other than the career choice to get back to her school and teaching students lower, like primary education, like until up till the class 5th standard. Goel, the word is not simply recognition of an individual teacher, it is the recognition of the often unseen work done at a grassroots levels, yes, where the teachers spend years not just teaching children but understanding the circumstances that determine whether they learn or not. This award belongs to all those primary teachers and to all those teachers who teach children with their hearts, and they ensure that their students not only take lectures but they also learn not only a bookish knowledge but also life lessons. And guys, one of the most important and emerging talk of the town nowadays we could see is about E20, ethanol blended petrol, which has come to the market, but the people are not taking it to the street just like the protest. The ethanol blended petrol debate refuses to obey it on the streets. Rather, it gained traction on the Instagram. Now the major problem around it is not about the choice in the pricing, it is about people are not taking up it as a choice because consumers are not seeing it as a tangible price benefit despite bearing the cost of lower mileage. People are refusing to adapt it and accept it with their open arms. So there are major reasons behind it, but we'll cover it in a nutshell here in the article written title of the record and about E20, why choice in pricing actually matters. We could see here some in the government have their ears to the ground. They are done to incentivize those who feel short change on mileage due to E20 rollout. Like there has been no change on the mileage so far. That is why people are not taking it as a good opportunity, as a good provision that has been laid before them by the government. And talking about the past, we have also seen it happen during the Vajpayee governments in 2006, where E5 rollout was there, and now finally it's now set to at E20, that is 20%. It was also seen ethanol blending at 10% in the 2021 and 2, and it rose to 19.2 and then in 2024 and then eventually at E20 in 2026. It was also seen in in the UPA government as well. So now we could see there are major benefits. First, talking about the benefits that E20 fuel gives us over the fossil fuel based fuels like gasolines. The first one is, yes, it cuts fossil fuel. Okay. Second is lowers down the carbon emission. It reduces dependence on imports. It saves our precious forex reserves and insulates the country from vagaries of geopolitics that affect supplies, like that we have seen in the global supply chain from the Arabian Peninsula about the oil from the Strait of Hormuz. While this may be appreciated by those affected, they are not convinced enough how all these translates into benefits for them. Yes, the major problem is lies that all people are not convinced that how it will translate into benefits for them. They do not get it because, as a government officer explains, the consumer is not seeing a tangible price benefits despite bearing the cost of lower mileage. This is the major reason. Okay. We could also cover here now E20 differential pricing becomes an incentive. Consumer would make peace with 3-5% lower mileage because of a lower price E20 compared with E10. See, this is the benefit of E20 over E10, that it is making a consumer would make a peace with 3 to 5% lower mileage because of a lower priced E20. Income tax regime was there as one of the challenges the people are not taking up. Financial Ministry continued to offer taxpayers the option to file returns under the old tax regime. Old tax regime offers exemptions but tax rates are high. So it's been 6 years and the two systems continue alongside. But almost 90% of all individuals have shifted to the new tax regime. Also, we could see here that be that so, it is tough to make the Indian consumer believe that counterfactual, right? What did not happen but could have happened is a concept that what does not risk easily. The fact that E20 was the reason why the government could keep petrol prices low despite the Indian crude oil basket averaging over 100 billion a barrel is still lost on most consumers. The people are not paying their attention to the fact that the India, despite their low crude oil basket just hovering over $100 a barrel, they kept their stagnant, kept their prices like the fuel prices at a very average rates. We did not witness the spikes in the fuel prices despite the tumult, the disrupted global supply chain due to the ongoing Iran and Israel war. See here as well, ethanol becomes much cheaper at relatively high global crude oil prices for $120 to $130 a barrel. Ethanol blended fuel is definitely an alternative, but it requires behavioral changes among consumers. Yes, it is here that public policy gets interesting and challenging. Offering consumer a choice of fuel and making them see a price advantage will make a difference. For sure. What can't be done about mileage? Can choice and differential pricing cover for that? See, we can't see the mileage has not been changed to an extent what people have expected to do it with an upcoming blended fuel. That's the problem. But can the choice that is being made available to them and lower priced E20 blended fuel, can it make cover for that reason? Like low pricing and the choices or option are there despite the low mileage even by the E20 blended fuel. Here another beautiful article which revolves around the unemployment is not just about education. It's about so many reasons how a country develops, how a country grows over the years. We have seen a major unemployment because jobs are very less firstly, and also growth rate of India is stagnant and it's majorly confined to few sectors of the economy. One of the growing is real estate sector, which is not the one which employs many. The one employs many. Also, the better educated workforce is still missing in India because we do not have the resources and also not the financial stability that one country should have in order to become prosperous in the future ahead. So there are basically the youth unemployment in the country because of the less jobs, and also people are confined or revolving in a loophole of cracking a government exam where seats are already less. Lakhs of people are competing for one seat, and also that a lot of financial in the lower and middle class families, the lack of financial stability to take up something new of their graduation degree, of their field, like to take up a new skilling. This was the reason that less growth rates in different sectors, only confined to few sectors like real estates. Demonetization was one of the reasons where we have seen like very slow and stagnant growth rate over the 3 years before output actually contracted due to COVID in the early 2020s. As expected, the economy rebounded after the lockdown, but that could not prevent a decline in the average growth rate. Yes, it was seen a major decline in the average growth rate was seen. Thereafter, we saw a major slowdown in public investment. The pace of private investment has also been constant despite the Modi government, which is being the most business-friendly one that the country has ever seen. The rising prices of food also. The incomes of the people are remaining or hover around at a stagnant pace, but the prices of the food are rising at exponential levels. Proliferation has been seen, begin to rise and grow. Globally, countries become richer as food gets cheaper. Yes, we know why. We all know that, right? Industrial firms are now left with excess capacity, leading them to postpone the investment, right? This is one of the reasons we could also see. They are left with excess capacity, so thereby leading them to postpone investment. That is why we have seen a major decline in public investment, as well as the private investment is hovering around at a constant stagnant rate. Pessimistic approach is seen by the market by the firms. As firms observe the slow growth of the market for their goods, they have likely become pessimistic about their prospects for the future growth. It explains the unchanged growth rate of private investment. Yes. The major preference and the marked preference for the growth revolves around a sectors like big infra, highways, airports, and also aligned closely to production, roads, electricity, sewer, transport that may be expected to yield greater returns in terms of employment generated. Yes, also the self-employment is a good alternative, but that also need to have a good chunk of investment right before prospering for future growth. You need to have a lot of money to make an investment into the what you are planning to do, right? And that is why it prevents a lot of people from making a step ahead because of the financial instability and constraints, thereby leading them to stay where they are. And that is why we are seeing an average growth rate of the country. Only when the employment crisis India faces today is understood can the necessary corrective action be taken. While India owes its young the best education, the public policy must aim to keep India's aggregate demand for goods high. Both the duties are there. First, the government to provide the best education to the people in terms of economic employment, and secondly, the public policies must be formulated in such a way that it keeps the aggregate demand for India's goods as high in the foreign countries. Like exports should be promoted to the extent.